welcome to Shields Live. How is everybody this afternoon? Beautiful day. Isn't it beautiful? I just had to go out and get a machine for somebody. It's very nice out. I'm just getting my phone ready so I can see comments if I can't see them on here. How is everybody today? So Tim's down in Davenport. He had to work down in Davenport today, so you just got me again. Sorry. So Tim will be back next. So next week, I was going to tell everybody, well, I'll remind you at the end. Next week, we won't have Shields Live because next week on the 9th is the Dime event at 3 o'clock. So we're hosting the Dime applique. It's the applique event, and that is next week, next Wednesday at 3 p.m. So if you haven't already signed up, I just sent the email out again a few minutes ago, and then you can sign up to join us with that next Wednesday. So we will not have Shields Live next Wednesday. We'll have that instead. And then the following week, we'll have Shields Live again too. So hi, everybody. Oh, hi, Jerry. Hi, Teresa. I can see a few people have arrived. So today we're going to talk about the digital dual feed. Now, the digital dual feed works on quite a few of the larger machines, sewing embroidery machines. So I'm going to turn the camera over here in a second, and then I'll show you some of the feet. And but the digital dual feed is a walking foot, but it's digital. So in other words, you plug it into the back of the machine, and you can adjust how fast or slowly it rolls. So, which makes it really cool because then you have a little more options for a walking foot, because, a traditional walking foot is mechanical and it just, goes as it goes. It doesn't go any faster or slower or anything. And this one will. So I'll explain to you a little bit about the setting of it if you need to do that. So anyway, so I'll turn my camera over here and I'll have you look at the feet so you can see. Hi, Margaret. Hi, Tammy. Oh, Jerry's here. Teresa's here. A bunch of people are here. I can't see who else here unless you say something. I can't really see who it is, but people are coming in. Okay, so let me go ahead and get my camera switched over here. And let's see, get the right one here. Get the right microphone. Okay, hopefully you can hear me okay. Get the microphone switched over. Looks like you're hearing me. All right, Kathy, hi. Hi, Marianne. All kinds of, oh, hello from Yuma. You're down there where I bet it's even warmer down there. It's nice here today. So you're probably going to be coming home pretty soon. You'll come home to some nice weather, hopefully. All right. So is everybody hearing me okay? Send me some thumbs up so I can see that on my phone. But we're going to talk about this digital dual feed. Now, they actually have a new digital dual feed foot that just came out this last fall, and it's a little smaller. So I actually have them both here, and I'm going to show them to you. So what I'm talking about and is this larger walking foot. Okay, so it's this is the original one, and this came with like the Dream Machines, the Destinies, the Solarises, the Luminaires. It came with like some of the sewing machines, like the 2450s and the 3050s, and the let's see what other ones we'll use. At the 6200D, the older 6200D used this foot. And I think you can use this foot on the newer Stellaires and Altairs. I don't know if it comes with it. I haven't opened one of those lately to look. So, but I think you can use it on that machine as well. And what's cool about it is that you see it's got this little tail, and the tail comes up behind the machine and plugs in. So then the machine and the foot are going to talk to each other. Okay. So that's what I like about it, is that I can adjust how it sews or how fast it sews. And then this is the newer one. And if you notice, this is the baby lock. I just happen to have the baby lock one open. But this is the newer version of the digital dual feed. And you can see there's quite a little bit of difference in the size of them. This one's smaller. And they angled it up a little bit in the back so that there's a little bit more room if you've got something real bulky back here, so that it doesn't get caught on the bottom of the foot. Now, I've never really had that problem. I'm normally using like a quilt with nothing that's too bulky, so I've never had any trouble with this one. But then the newer one is just a little more slimline, so like this. Okay, so they work basically the same way. They both work on, even though this newer foot, it still works on my little bit older machine. So I am going to be sewing on my, this is my 5200, my VM 5200 that I have back here. So this machine can use this foot, but it doesn't come with this foot. So this is the foot off of my Luminaire. I just hauled it down here with me today. Okay, so the first thing I want to do, this is the big question. Everybody asks me, how do I put this thing on my machine? So I have a lot of questions. This is you put it on like a standard walking foot. So that it has its own shank. So here's the little area where the screw is going to go into. Okay, and so I'm going to slide this back behind the machine. And I don't have a foot on this one yet. This one has the foot on it already, but I don't have the foot dropped on this one. So I'm just going to slide this in. And this little notch right here, so we can get the camera just a little bit closer. This little notch right here, the screw goes in between there. And this is just like a standard walking foot, really. I mean, it goes on basically the same way. And I'm going to go ahead and tighten that up. And you need to make sure that that's nice and flat against that bar back there. Get it on there. And then I'm going to take my quarter, my high-tech screwdriver here, and I'm just going to give it a little turn to make sure it's good and tight. So there's how you put it on. And then the little tail, I told you about the little tail, there's a port back, like straight up from the back of the machine here. There's a port back there, and then it plugs in. So for those of you who have like the machines that had the US or the embroidery foot, that had the tail, it plugs into the same little port back there. So it's kind of straight up on the left-hand side of the machine as you're looking at the front of it. So, okay. So that is now on properly, and the little roller, this little roller belt. So what makes this different is this has this little roller belt on it instead of just, like a standard walking foot, just has the little feet, and it has little feet on the bottom of the foot, and you've got feet on the bottom, feed dogs down here, and it just kind of goes like this, right? Well, this one is going to grab the fabric with this roller belt and pull it. But guess what? I can adjust this. So if I am, so let's talk about the adjustment first. When I go to use multiple layers of fabric, so this is how you would adjust this, and I'll show you on the machine where to adjust it. Still having trouble with my camera, sorry guys. Let's say that we're sewing along, and when I get down to the end of my fabric, the top of the fabric sticks out below the bottom of the fabric. Well, that's not good, right? We want these to be even together. So that means that this top piece of fabric's moving faster than the bottom piece of fabric. That makes sense. And then, or let's say that it's like this, that the top piece of fabric is in, it doesn't go all the way out to the end of the bottom. So that means that this top piece of fabric is going slower than the bottom piece, okay, which a little bit more often happens, okay? So, and sometimes it depends on the type of fabric you have against the feed dogs down here too, okay? All right, so let me go into the sewing mode. I'm going to pick a straight stitch here. I'm just going to sew something with one of these, with this foot, and then we're going to talk about how to adjust it. So I'm going to grab the standard foot that comes with the machine is this one. So this one comes with the foot, and it's just the standard, kind of closed toe walking foot. And there's two little clamps under here. There's one here and one here, and this has two little bars on it. And so it's a little different than the regular feet, but it's similar. So I'm going to get those little bars kind of lined up, and I'm going to bring the foot down on top of that and click it on. So I missed a little bit, so I can, there we go. Okay, so there's my foot. And then these just pull off, so I can just pull them off like this to get them off. Okay, this one doesn't have a button on the back like the other feet. So this one you just pull off. Okay, so let me get it lined back up again. This one's a little harder to line up because you can't see it as well, so you have to kind of fiddle with it a little bit. There we go. All right, so this is the standard foot that comes with the machine, and most of the older ones, the original ones. So if you have an older machine, like one of the Dream Machines or Destinies, it may not have the red lines on it. I like the red lines because it gives me some lines to judge you know, how far I am from my needle. So these have, you know, some markings on them to help us, like stitch markings. Okay. The older ones were just plain silver, so they didn't have that. All right, so I'm just going to sew with this a little bit. We'll just do some straight stitches with it. If I can get some of this kind of lined up just a second. There we go. Okay, so let's just sew with it so you can kind of see how it sews. And it makes a little noise. There's a little flipper back here. Can you see that my foot's kind of up yet? There's a little flipper back here. Let me see if I can turn this a little bit. See this little gray flipper back here? It has to be down for it to engage the little belt. And then my foot is up because I have my pivot feature on my machine. So I wanted to make sure that the belt was engaged down on the fabric, and that's the walking foot part. If it's up, it's not engaged. So you can actually sew with this without the belt engaged on it. You can just flip this little flipper up back here. Okay, so I'm going to put it back down again so it's engaged. And I'm just going to do some straight stitching. Now, when you're using a walking foot of any kind, don't get overzealous with the speed. Okay, you know, sew slowly. Get my banner out of here. Sorry, guys, forgot to turn the banner on today. Off today. Okay, so don't sew like really fast. Give the walking foot a chance to work. Okay. So it makes kind of a little sound because it's got that little rubber belt on there. So you can hear kind of a little sound when it sews. Okay. But what's so neat about this particular walking foot is that I can adjust it. So I'm going to show you on the machine how this adjusts. So this is the cool part. So just a second here. I gotta pull my camera back. My camera, I still have not got this camera organized right. It just does not work always right. It's unlike one of those little arms. Okay. So to get to where you can adjust it, you have to be in the settings. So I'm going to go down here to my settings button. And mine is on page 1. So it says dual feed adjustment. Okay. So I have it set at 0, and normally I'll start at 0, which is kind of like the default setting or the right in the middle setting. And okay, so if you go plus, see how it goes 1, 2, 3, and so on. Okay, that means that the roller is going to roll faster. If I go the other way, see, I can go negative. That means the roller's going to roll slower. So let's try a couple of these. And what happens is, it's hard for me to show you because I don't have a really heavy fabrics. So in other words, when it's on 0, the roller is rolling and the feet and the feed dogs are kind of going together. So it's kind of the default. Okay. So let's say that we had our pieces of fabric here, and we started talking about this before. So now you know where I am in the settings. It says dual feed adjustment. Okay. So now let's say we'll use our fabric here to help us. So let's say that when I got to the end of my sewing, and I'm going to over exaggerate this so you can see it better. Let's say that this top layer of fabric way might line up to the end, and they were the same size, which, you know, is our goal, right? So if that's the case, that means that belt is moving too fast compared to the feed dogs underneath. Okay, oops, second here. I move the fabric too fast, it gets mad. Sometimes if I do this, it'll clear it up. Come on, there we go. So if this is moving too fast, it's pulling it back faster than the feed dogs are pulling the bottom. Okay, so that means that I need to slow this belt down so that everything will line up. Okay, so then everything would line up again. So then I would move this to the negative. We don't want this top part to go as fast. And then if it was poking out from the top, I'm sorry, I did these backwards, excuse me. So if it's poking out from the bottom is moving faster than the top. So I'm sorry, I made a mistake. So let's go back and start again. So if it's poking out on the bottom like this, when you get done, this bottom piece is moving faster than the top piece.
Okay. So that means we need to speed up that roller so that this keeps up with the feed dogs underneath. That happens quite often because the feed dogs are, you know, they've got good grippers on them and they grip the fabric and send it through. But then sometimes the top one doesn't have any grippers on it and it doesn't stay caught up with the bottom. So in this case, if it's like this, if the bottom piece is sticking out from the top, this needs to go faster. So I'm going to increase my dual feed adjustment with the plus sign and go above 0 so that I can speed that belt up so that it'll start lining back up again. Okay. And if it's the other way, if I've got my back piece, my bottom piece is way back here and my top piece is way out here, then that belt's going way too fast for the feed dogs. Okay. So we need to slow the belt down so that they can catch up with each other. All right. So let's see if we can maybe do a simulation. I haven't tried this out. I'm just going to cut this in half. Let's cut this fabric in half and see if we can simulate this. Okay. So let's see what happens. Haven't tried this before. It's, you know, live television. We just need to try it, right? Okay. Now I'm going to turn the feed all the way up as fast as it goes. So I've got it all on the plus side. Let's see what happens when we get to the end of this, just these two pieces of fabric. It usually works a little better if I have something a little heavier, but I didn't have any heavier fabric today. So let's see what happens. Okay, so I've got this sped up, and these were the same length. So I got my belt sped up as fast as it goes. Now look, see how the end sticks out from the back? That meant that obviously my top was going faster than the underneath. Okay, so it's sticking out. So I need to turn my belt down to make it go slower so then it will line up a little bit more. Okay. If I do the opposite way, I'm going to go all the way down to the negative side. You see another little piece of fabric here. So we can do that simulation. Put this one first. I got to find my other piece of fabric here. Then we can make it do the other way, and that's how you would adjust that. So normally I start in the center with it. Okay, so let's see what this one does. So this one I have turned down so the belt's real slow. Just see if we can get this to simulate what that could look like. Okay, so I got the belt real slow, and I had these all lined up. And this one's not too bad. This one's staying pretty good, even though I've got it turned down. So the feed dogs really feed well on these machines. So often I don't have that problem, but I have the problem like this, that the top isn't moving as fast as the bottom because the feed dogs are on there, right? So I usually am moving this towards the plus side. Okay, so I'm going to put it back to 0. Let's see how we do here with the 0. And normally I kind of use 0. That seems to be what, and sometimes I have to turn up the belt if I've got something kind of thick in there, and then to keep them lined up because my feed dogs are pulling through and then the top isn't. Yeah, so that stayed nice and together. Okay. So the simulation that we did, the first one, was me turning the belt way down. And so it was like the belt wasn't moving very fast. And so this just the belt was moving very fast on this one. And so it was pushing the fabric forward and forward, and then the feed dogs weren't keep catching up with it. So what I normally do, like I said, is I like to keep the dual feed at 0. And then sometimes I have to speed up my belt a little bit to catch up with the bottom because of the feed dogs feeding the fabric. Okay. So is that making sense to everybody? That's how we can adjust it, is up here on this thing. Does the come with the machine or is it on the add-on? Jan, yours came with one. Your Luminaire has one of these. So here is again, I have it back on 0. And so if I turn it this way, this means that my belt's going to roll just a little bit faster and keep the top lined up with my bottom, because often that's what happens, is that the top doesn't line up with my bottom because the bottom has the feed dogs on it, right? So then that's going faster. So I need to speed it up so that they stay together. So normally I don't move it too much. I find that it works real well on like 0, 1, 2, because I know that I've used it for about those numbers, just to kind of make it go a little bit faster on the top, to keep my back, or to keep my top lined up with my backing. Because the backing I always know is going to feed pretty well. Now I have had to go the other way if I was using, like, let's say like Minky on the back, because Minky has all that fuzzy stuff, and sometimes the Minky kind of grabs in the feed dogs a little bit and it kind of slows it down, and then I need to get the belt slowed down too, so that it won't it'll catch up with my Minky. It'll stay caught up with my Minky. So that's how you adjust it. So just play with the numbers. I always start at 0 so that they're evenly feeding. Okay. And then at that point, if my top is going too fast, I slow my roller down. If my top is going too slowly, I speed it up. All right. So does that make sense to everybody, how you would adjust that if you need to? So you have to kind of look at your pieces. I often do like a little bit of a, like a little test piece with what I'm going to be doing. Like if I have batting and backing and a top, I kind of do a little test piece on an edge of it that I can't see, or like a little sandwich of the same fabric. I'll just do a little test piece to see if I can get it adjusted the way I want it to start with. So again, if your top on 0 comes beyond your back, that means that the top is going too fast. Turn it down. If your top doesn't meet up with the bottom, if the bottom is sticking out, then we need to speed that top up a little bit to get it out there with your bottom, with the backing. Okay. So you can use this for other than just quilting. Obviously, I use it with anything that has like multiple layers. I've used it for purses and bags and different things that have lots of, several layers of fabric. So I can keep them all layered together so that they're moving together a little better. Okay. But the other thing that's neat about this foot is they actually give you some optional feet for it. So there are some feet, and I put these all up on the website. So let's talk about the feet a little bit. So they give you the one foot. This is the foot that comes with the machines and with the digital dual feed. It actually comes with it. Then they have a few extra feet. Okay, so these are the 3 main ones here. And what they are is, these are some of the more like quilting feet. So I really like this foot. This is the open toe foot. So you can see the difference between this one and this one. They have similar markings on them, which is nice. This one had the red marks before this one did, so I had this one right away. But you can also see through this foot. It has the opening in it. And so I had a little trouble sometimes doing stuff that I was trying to do precision things. I had a little trouble using this foot because I couldn't see through the center section of it. Okay. So this one has an opening in the middle. So this is the open toe foot. Okay. And I put these all up on the website. I think that one is $29.99. And that doesn't come with the now some of the machines, a couple of the sewing machines actually come with all of these feet, which is kind of neat. A couple of the new sewing machines come with a bunch of these feet, so it is kind of cool. I had to buy all these for my Luminaire, so these are all my feet. Okay, so there's the standard one. Here's the open toe. So we got this one. So it's going to be similar. Okay. And then the other 2 newer ones that they have here, this one is a 1/4 inch piecing foot. So here's with a guide. So this one is a 1/4 inch. So if you like to piece with a walking foot, which some people do, so we're going to do that. I'm going to put this foot on and see, here's got the little guide on it. So let's see how, remember we talked about 1/4 inch seams last week. Let's do a little bit of work with this one and see how accurate this is and where we have to put the fabric. You suppose it's a full 1/4 inch or a scant 1/4 inch? Because we talked a lot about that last week. Okay, let me get some fabric here. See how this one goes. But a lot of people like to piece with a with a walking foot, and I never have really, but I know that people do all the time. So this is a really nice foot. Make sure I'm on 0. Okay. Okay, so I've got it up against my guide. So I'm running my fabric right up against my guide, and let's see if it's full 1/4 inch or if it's a scant 1/4 inch. We'll measure it with, I got my little hem gauge out over here. Think it's a full? Lynn thinks it's a full. Okay, so let's see. So here's my 1/4 inch. We'll mark it on my hem gauge here. And yep, it is. So it's you're basically right on the line, and it doesn't really cover it up. Okay, so this is going to be a full 1/4 inch with the guide. Okay, so see, some of the guides, remember we talked about some of those last week, some of them were full and some of them were scant. So this one is full, so I can just see the stitching right here. Okay, so it is a full 1/4 inch on there. So this one would be fine for piecing, but remember this, if you're going to be doing a lot of little triangles or something, this may not be the foot for you to be doing all those little extra little seams and stuff. Okay, so this one is a full 1/4 inch. All right, so then the other one, and this one I think is $35.99. So this is the, I put these up on the website yesterday. So this one's $35.99 with the 1/4 inch piecing foot with the guide on it for the digital dual feed. And then the other one that they have, which is cool, and I'm gonna, let's see if I can find someone with a ditch here to use. This one has this is the stitch in the ditch foot, and I do like this one. This one has a nice long little thing in the center so that we can stitch in the ditch with this. Okay, so I'm going to make a ditch with my fabric here. Okay, and what that means is we're going to run that little guide right along that fold. Okay, and then we're going to stitch a straight stitch. So let's put this one on here. All right, let's see. So I'm going to put that little guide that's in the center right on my ditch. Okay. And then I think this one, let's see, if I put that there, yeah, I think that's where I want everything. It looks good. I think I'm all lined up. Okay. And then what that does is it helps me stay with my needle in the ditch instead of it being, because my needle's in the center, instead of me going over on my fold, which is not what I want. And of course, normally we'd be doing this with very matchy thread. Now I'm using green thread so you can see it. Okay, so there's my stitch in the ditch, and it's over just a little bit. So I've actually learned to compensate a little bit with that. So what I do is I like mine to be just a little bit closer to the seam, and what I do, what I've done with this then is I put it just on the fold instead of inside of it. I like to put it just on the fold, and I can really keep it on there, and then I can get that line even closer. So I'm trying to get it right on that little fold. This is a good foot. Oops, I got a little off there. Sorry, guys. I have a hard time sewing with the camera in front of me. Okay. So see how I got it just a little bit closer? So I got 2 lines there. And so the closer one is the one. So sometimes I'll put the guide like right on the little fold just so I can get just even a little bit closer. Normally, as I said, I would be using a matching thread here. So instead of this green thread. So I wanted you to be able to see where I was sewing. Okay. So that's a stitch in the ditch foot. So that's another one that they make for this digital dual feed. Okay. So that's the stitch in the ditch foot with the little guide thing, and this one's also $35.99. Okay, so this is up there. Yes, I found that it wants to be slightly inside the ditch if you don't put it right on the fold. So I've just kind of started putting it on the fold, and it seems to work real well for me. The only time it's a little hard is if you get into a real thick spot. So I usually put it just on the fold to run it along, and then it's a little closer. Depends on how close you want it to be. So that one is also $35.99. That works with this foot. So the 1/4 inch, so we got the 1/4 inch piecing foot that goes on this. We got the stitch in the ditch foot. Here's the standard walking foot that comes with it. This one usually comes with the foot. Okay, this one here. I'm so glad they put the little red marks on it, so at least we now have some marks to go by. Makes it easier. And then the open toe one, which is my favorite. Can you move the needle? Yes, Garnet, you can, because you can see it's got a zigzag plate on it. So see, you can move the needle to the side, yes. So if you want to use your stitch in the ditch, yes, you could move your needle. So that would be another option. Let me see if we can figure that out, how to do that. I usually just move the foot, but I guess I've never been a needle mover. I don't move my needle, and it depends on how far you can move how what increments you want to move your needle. So let me see what increments this machine gives me. Okay, depending on the needle that or the screen I'm on, it depends. Let's see if this one gives me more increments. So a second here. Okay, this one's the same. So you can do either left, right, shift, or let me see if there's any of them that give me a different increment. Some of the machines, I think, give me different increments, and this one is always the same. Yeah, this one's always the same. So let's see if we could get it to be closer by putting it on the ditch. So if I put it right along there, let's see. I've got it at 0.25. So that's the left, right shift. This machine has left, right shift. So a lot of them do have this. So see how I have left, right shift at 0.25. So it's over, it moved the needle this way just a little bit to the right. So let's see if that cleared up that problem. Oops. Helps, Jan, if you put the needle down. There we go. Let's see if we got it then. That was a very good idea. Yes. So I think that might have done it. Move the needle over just a little bit. Then you can put it right along the ditch. I think that took care of it. The 0.25 took care of it. It's very, very close anyway. Because I think if you got it much more than that, it would be too much. So yeah, so now it's right on top of my inside line. So yeah, that was a good idea, Garnet. I don't move my needle that much, so I have a tendency to move over on the foot because then I can see this great big thing to go by. But that is a very good idea. I would definitely tell you to do that. Okay, because I just moved it just slightly over to the right, and it got closer for me. Okay. All right. So let's see. Now the last foot that I'm going to show you actually comes with some of the machines, and some of the machines you cannot use this foot. Like the one I have here, I can't use it. This is actually a couching foot. So can you see there's a little hole in the plastic here? And that one is, you can put some yarn or some cord down through there, and then you can sew over it. And then there's a little device that goes on the machine to hold your thread or cord, whatever you have. I'll show you. I've got the one for my Luminaire. But this little device here goes on the side of the machine up here. And this machine does not allow me to use this. So it would kind of come up here, and then the cord would come down and go through your foot. Okay, so but this one doesn't allow me to use it. So that's why I just wanted to mention it. Because the Dream Machines can use this, and I think you can use it on the newer sewing machines. And also like the Dream Machines, Destinies, the Luminaires, and Slarses, like you could use this foot. So this was the couching foot. Okay, now this one I did not put on the website because this came with quite a few of the machines. So we don't usually have it in stock by itself for the couching. But that's the other foot that they make for it. Okay, but yeah, I like that moving the needle, Garnet, a very good idea. Let's see if we can find a piece of fabric that is cleaner and we can look at that again. That was really good. I think I've got some scissors here that I can pull this open. There we go. Pull this open. We'll look at that again. So yeah, so I just moved the needle over a little bit and that helped me. I don't use this foot very often, so pull this open so we can look at I sewed on both sides of this one. Oops. Oh, got my thumb stuck in it. There we go. Let's do that again so you can see. So I'll make my ditch here. That was a very good suggestion. So yeah, I think I used 0.25. So that helped a lot. Brought it over. I think if I went, let me see if I went one more notch, which would be 0.3, and that's 0.5. So see, I think that's too much. It might be okay. 0.25. Let me look at it again. It might be okay at 0.5. Let's see. I used the left-right shift. Let's try it again. That was cool. See, I learned from my students. That's why I like to do these, then that people help me. Looks good. Yep. That looks really good. Let's try that one. I'll show you that one so you can see it better. There we go. Yeah, so that's better. See that I got closer? I got a little off on that one because I wasn't paying attention. I looked up. But that's more, that's even closer, and that's 0.5. So yeah, so that'd be a good idea. Try changing your needle position slightly. But that's what's nice about all of these feet, because you can do that. It does have, and you can use a zigzag stitch because it does have the opening on all of these feet. Okay. Now, if I do the other foot's the same. Okay. The difference is going to be there's just a little bit more clearance in the back. So I probably won't put this one on today. But there's just a little bit more clearance on the back of this one, so that if you get a little bit bigger mound of fabric, like something that's a little loftier, then this would go over it just a little bit better. So that's the difference in the newer foot. This comes with the newer sewing machines, like the Baby Lock Ballad and Chorus have this new foot with it, and so does the Brother 3100 and 2500. And then you can purchase this for your like your Dream Machine, Destiny, Solaris, Luminaire. You can purchase this foot if you want this one. If you use a walking foot a lot, you may want this foot. Okay, because it's got just a little slimmer and it just goes through things a little bit better. Okay, but I haven't really had any problems with this one. I use this one, so I haven't really ever had any problems with it. But I normally am just using like quilt batting and a couple pieces of cotton. So. All right, so now there's one last thing I wanted to show you, but I'm going to take this foot back off. Does anybody have any questions? Does everybody understand how to set the belt if they need to change the belt speed? Does that make sense to everybody? So if the top fabric went too fast and it's sticking out from the bottom, we need to slow the belt down. And if the bottom is sticking out from the front, we need to speed up the top and turn up the belt to make it go faster. All right, so here's my walking foot again off the machine. And they also have a set of these quilting guides. So you know how we put in our walking foot, often we'll put one of these arm things, and then we want to do like evenly spaced straight stitching. Well, we can do that with this too. So they give you this little, the one I'm using is actually the Brother one, because they have a package that you get both of them in the same package. It's $40. You get the 2 guides, and there's a little adapter thing to put them in. So here's the 2 guide. It looks like dual feed quilting guide, and it's a pack. You get both. There's one for the left and one for the right. So depending on how you like to quilt, you might need one or the other. But they give you this little clamp. There's this little clamp with a screw in it. Okay. And you got to install this onto your walking foot first. And it goes down. I'm just going to make sure I get it on correctly. Okay. So there's like a little thing that sticks up here. This goes in the front. And then this hole is where the little guide's going to go. So it goes in the back. So this goes down like this. Because if I try to put it the other way, it won't work. It won't fit. I'm going to throw it on the floor instead. So see, it won't fit down in there by that way. So if you turn it this way, so this thing here is in the front, and then this goes in the back. So I'm just going to slide it down. There's a little crevice right here on the top of the foot, and you just slide it down on that. Maybe I think I tightened the screw up too much. And I, of course, took the screwdriver out to the other room, and now it's out in the other room. So I'm going to have to go grab my screwdriver. Give me just a second. Sorry about that. Somebody came in right before the show, and I had to have a screwdriver. So here's my screwdriver, and there's a little screw over here, and we're going to hold this on, and we want to tighten this up so it's nice and tight so that it won't come off when we go to take those little bars in and out. Okay, and then this, you just leave it on. Once you get it on there and installed, you just leave it on. And then this one, this bar, goes in the left side. So if you want to use this side, okay, you can use this side. And this is the side I use the most, is this one. So then you take this one out and you put in this bar in the same hole, and it goes in here. So this one is kind of cool because it has two little lines on it. And just so you know, the baby lock versions of these are just slightly different looking. The bars are a little different shape. So if you happen to have the baby lock ones, they may look slightly different. But it depends on, you know, which side you like to work with. I usually work with this side. So let's put one of these on. I'm going to put this back on. If I can hit the hole again. Maybe. There we go. Make sure you get it on there nice and flat. That little bar kind of is flat on one side and rounded, so you have to be a little careful to get it nice and flat, and then tighten it up. Plug your tail back in the back. Okay. And then I'm just going to put, oh, let's put the open toe foot on. I like that foot. Put that one on. Okay. And then, so we're just going to start with a line. So we already got a line sewn on this one. Okay. And let's say I'm going to put my bar in here. So I got to find the little hole back here. There we go. Okay. And I'm going to put this first. So this is a little further away. So it depends on how far. I've used both sides of this, so it doesn't matter whichever one you choose to use. I'm going to use, let's use the inside one since this is kind of small. Okay. And then I'm going to put this on my line that I'd already sewn, and then they'll all be the same size. So I'm going to go ahead and sew this line. I'm going to run that design, that guide right down along that line I already sewed. So if you want to do straight line sewing, this is a good way to do it. Okay. I'm going to cut that off, and then we're going to do the next line. I'm going to leave that guide right where it was, and I'm going to put this one right on that guide. See if I can get it lined up here. Oops. Go ahead just a little bit. Okay. And then we can use that line, the next line we did, to help us with the following line. And you can use either side. I have a harder time over here on the left. I guess I've always sewn with one on this side, so I don't use the left one too much. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing. So here's another one. So we can do this one. Like that. Okay, so then you can do your straight line quilting. And let's say we want to go the other direction, so then we could start going the other way. Okay. If you wanted to do like cross hatches, we could have done it from corner to corner. So like we could sew from corner to corner here and do this way. So I'm just going to raise this up and get it out of my way for a second. So we wanted to go corner to corner. And I often do like diamonds, you know, so I do like corner to corner, start my first one in the middle. Like that. Not quite corner to corner, but you get the idea. I'm just using scrap fabrics. And then you can see I'm not very straight, but you know what? That's okay. Then I can go do the next one. Let's say I'm going to make it a little closer together though. Okay, so make it a little closer together. And then we're going to run that along this one. So then we do our diamonds. I'll try to make this one straighter than the last one. Okay. I usually mark them with like some marking. I'm marking chalk. I like chalk when I do this. I'm going to do this and put that on there. Like that. So depending on how you're doing it, these work really well. And they stick into that little guide thing, or the little post thing back there really well, and they stay really tight. So okay. So then I might want to do this way. So then I could do the other direction, then I'd have the diamonds. So we got extra lines on there. But that is the guide. So those are also up on the website. And they are in this, I put the brother ones up because they come together. The baby lock ones they're the same price. They just come in 2 separate packages instead of only one. So these come together. So can everybody hear me again? I'm back on according to this. Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me because it looks like you can. I'll check my camera. The internet went off, guys. Can you hear me? Yes, so you can hear me now? Awesome. So I can at least say goodbye and finish up what we were doing. So sorry about that. The internet actually just went off. I looked over and it just said there's no internet. So that's what happened. Let me get back to the thing so if there's any comments that I missed. So yeah, the internet just went off. But it kept going. It just froze me. All right, so this was with my little guide. So I took my little guide off, and what I was saying is I just wanted you to know, what I wanted you to know is that leave this on. You know, once you get it on and adjusted and tightened on, just leave it on. Then you know where it's at. You don't have to worry about it falling, losing it. Because I was taking it on and off, and I thought, well, why am I doing that? It doesn't hurt anything just to leave it on there. So, okay, so I'm back again. Can you hear me again? The internet keeps going on and off. Judy said they're working down the street. So I wonder if that, so I at least wanted to say goodbye to everybody. What I might do is just do a little recap of what I was talking about, and then put it up at the end. So I might do that, and then just add it to the live at the end. So anyway, I've got this off again, leave this on. That's what I was talking about. So I may just kind of recap it, and at the very end, and then I'll just splice them together and we'll upload a different video. So I'm sorry that the internet came off at the end. So let me just switch my camera up and we'll say goodbye before it goes off again. So sorry about that, guys. You know, you can't control the internet, right? It sometimes happens.
Okay. So I'm just going to say goodbye. And remember, next week is the other event. So the dime event. So make sure you sign up for that. It's at 3:00. So sign up for that. I just sent the email today. And then next week, and then we'll have Shields Live again the following week. Okay. So I'm so sorry for the internet problems. I wasn't expecting that. So I might do a little recap and just fix the video so that it's a little bit better at the end. So, okay. Thanks everybody. Sorry for the little technical problems. You always have technical problems, So, all right. Good night. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks.